Hey everyone, it's Holy Man, and welcome to another video in my Holy Man Replay series. This is a series where I'm going back and I'm replaying a lot of the old games from this generation before the PS5 comes out. A lot of these games are either my favorite games from this gen or just games that I thought would be interesting to go back and replay. Maybe with the addition of DLC, it may have changed some things and whatnot. So, for this video, I'm going to be talking about Uncharted 4 primarily, but I do want to talk about the Uncharted series as a whole. So, with that intro out of the way, I'll get into the video. So, I've wanted to replay Uncharted 4 for a while. My thing, though, is that with Uncharted, I have to play them all in order. So, I have to go back and play the original trilogy before I can play 4. It's just a me thing, that's how I do it. And I do want to talk about the original trilogy for a minute. I'll also bring up Lost Legacy here too. I've only played it once. I didn't go back and replay it. And also I have not played the Vita game, so keep that in mind. But as far as the original trilogy goes, it was my 5th time playing through the trilogy. 1 is still a great game. The thing I'll tell everybody is you gotta remember when that game came out to, just keep that in mind if you're gonna go back and play it and you haven't. Like, it's still great, just it came out in 2006, and you can kind of tell, even a few years ago, you could tell that. Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3 are both amazing. In my opinion, if we're going to go by the IGN review scale, 1 is a 10 out of 10, 1 is like a 9.7. And for the longest time, I was of the opinion that Uncharted 2 was better than Uncharted 3. However, I did felt like Uncharted 3 had the better story. This last time going through and playing, I feel like Uncharted 3 is actually better than Uncharted 2. Mainly because whenever I was replaying Uncharted 2, I just realized there were not a lot of sections. Like, there was a few sections I was excited to play again. Like, the train sequence is always great. And then I forget what it is. It's like when you're in Tibet and you got to go through the mountain and do the challenge in there to find Schaefer's lost crew. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. That part's great. Other than that, there's a lot of parts where I was just like, I don't really want to replay this. And also, Uncharted 2 has probably the worst villain. Lazarevich is not a great villain. But Uncharted 3, I feel like Uncharted 3 probably has the best puzzles in the series. It has the best story. It has the most compelling villain. It's just different, and I really, really like it for that. It also probably has the smoothest gameplay, like the smoothest gameplay experience, I should say, of the original trilogy. So, yeah, I think I'm going to flip my opinion and say that Uncharted 3 is a masterpiece and Uncharted 2 is amazing, just eh. And with that out of the way, oh yeah, I did say I wanted to talk about Lost Legacy for a second. I almost skipped it. I think Lost Legacy is something you should play once. I really liked Chloe and Nadine's banter and back and forth in that game. Like, there are a couple characters that I like seeing together. I just think the game itself was just kind of bleh. I don't know. But with that out of the way, I'll now get into Uncharted 4. So, Uncharted 4 released in 2016, and I remember thinking at the time it was probably the second best Uncharted game, and I still hold to that. So that means it's an amazing game, but it has a few issues that hold it back just a little bit, and I do want to get into those for when it comes to that. But the first thing I want to talk about is the story, because that is kind of what Naughty Dog is known for now, is amazing stories and characters. And I really, really like the story in this one. It is a slow burn. Like, I think overall it took me maybe, 14 hours to beat Uncharted 4 this playthrough. And I was being kind of slow. So you could probably beat it faster than that. But like for instance, Uncharted 1 you can beat in like 5.5 hours. That's what I did. Uncharted 2, Uncharted 3, about 8 to 10. So yeah, it's definitely the longest game, and definitely in the first half, I'd say you can feel it. Like I said, it's a slow burn, and it is worth it in the end. But there are a couple places in the first half where I'd say the pace drags a little bit. But once you get to the island where Libertalia is at, then it picks up from there. The performances are top notch. All the actors, of course, give really great performances, and their relationships to one another are just really hammered home in this one. And I enjoyed the overall tone of the game. Sam is a great character. I enjoyed his addition to the game a lot. And then as far as the villain goes, Wraith is just okay. That's one of my main issues, is that he's probably the most fleshed out villain in the entire series. But I think that his motivations are just kind of okay. He's just kind of there. So, I don't know. I didn't really feel Wraith. Nadine is an awesome character, though. I was glad to see her come back for Lost Legacy, but yeah, her. I wish there was more Nadine in the game because she was just a really awesome character. Is there anything else I wanted to talk to the story? I think I pretty much covered it all. I guess I'll talk about. I put this at the end, but I'm going to move it up to here. So the game obviously looks amazing. Naughty Dog they really get the most out of the hardware. You can tell that with Last of Us Part 2, which is coming out in a couple days, actually, from when I'm recording this. But Uncharted 4 still looks amazing. And there's a lot of stuff they do, like, for instance, the water, like when you're diving underwater and then coming back up on that island. I forget, it's like off the coast of, the name's slipping me. But, like, you have to dive a lot and stuff. Like, it all looks really good. Like, it's technically impressive, too. But, it also sounds amazing. There were a couple, like, I'm really big on game soundtracks, and, like, going back and replaying this time, there's a couple of them where I was like, oh, that's actually a really good song. Like, the Uncharted series as a whole, like, the soundtracks are fine, but it's not really something I think about. But there were a couple songs in here where I was like, oh, this is actually really great. So now I guess I'll move on to the gameplay, and it's a fun game. The whole series, like, I think Uncharted 4's like standard cover-based shooting gameplay is about on par with the rest of the series, and the rest of the series is fun, but I don't put them near the top of like the best third-person cover shooters on the market. Like, really, it's the story and the performances that really hold the game up, and then the gameplay is a nice compliment. The traversal in this one is really fun, though. I enjoyed the new rope. I enjoyed like the way you climb up buildings and all the sides of cliffs and stuff. Like, the fact that there's now like multiple ways you can go up and not just one way is a nice touch. Like, it's a small thing, but it's really nice. And then this game also added a bigger emphasis on stealth, which the stealth itself it works. Like, it's okay. But I think that fits the character because this is a more mature Nathan Drake, and he's older and a bit wiser, and he probably doesn't want to get into as many gunfights as he did in the previous games. So it would make sense as to why he would want to go stealth, but also that's never been his forte. So it would make sense that like you get spotted a lot. Like, that's just the way I like to think about it. And then the puzzles in this game are fine. As I said, Uncharted 3 probably has my favorite puzzles, but there's a couple good ones in here, and then there's one that I absolutely hate. It's the one in this clip, actually, a little bit later, where you're looking at the portraits and like trying to flip the tiles around to make them fit in together. I hate that puzzle. Like it's just so obnoxious and I hate it. But otherwise, a lot of the puzzles are fine to good. And um yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Pretty much all I wanted to talk about with Uncharted 4. So now I'll move on to my final thoughts. So, as I said at the top, I think Uncharted 4 is the second best game in the series. So, for my ranking, that would be Uncharted 3, Uncharted 4, Uncharted 2, Uncharted 1, Lost Legacy, and then I didn't play the Vita game. Um, as I said, this is a slow burn of a story, but it's still a great story, amazing performances, and the gameplay overall is pretty fun. The traversal is probably the best part of this game. And if you have not played the whole series, um, if you don't own it already, the original trilogy was originally on PS3, has been remastered and brought to PS4, and I imagine Uncharted 4 can't be that much anymore, at least $30. So I would say the whole series is really worth a playthrough if you're interested. Um, and yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna leave it. I don't know what the next game in this series is going to be. I was thinking because just a heads up, I just finished replaying The Last of Us remastered for PS4, and I was gonna do a video on that, and then I was like, no, that's more of a PS3 game. I don't know if I'm gonna review Last of Us Part 2 or not. I'm still thinking on that. But yeah, I don't know what game I'm going to play next. Um, yeah, I'm just going to have to look through my library. But, oh no. Well, I mean, I am playing Bloodborne on Twitch right now, but that's probably going to take a minute. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, that's it for this video. If you liked what you've seen, you can go ahead and like this video, share it with friends, subscribe to my channel for more game reviews, gaming videos, and just all that good gaming stuff. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.